Hello everybody and welcome. I'm Nathan on Shuffle and this is the latest episode of New Music Friday. It is November 12th, 2021, and this is the show where I give you guys the biggest news in prog and music in general, give you the top 5 headlines and talk a little bit about my show and my channel and the updates of what's been happening lately and what's coming up. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this episode. I got some interesting items, kind of a holdover from probably something that I should have mentioned last week, and then a couple other items that have come up throughout the week. So hopefully you guys enjoy it today. So first on our list, like I said, this is one, the news just came out right soon after I released my New Music Friday for last week. So I didn't quite get it in time, but I think it's a great headline to start with this week. So my number one headline today is Jethro Tull announcing the release date for their new album, The Zealot Gene, which is January 28th, 2022, as well as the release of their new single, Shoshana Sleeping. So Jethro Tull, of course, well known and well regarded in the progressive rock scene. Definitely don't need really to reintroduce them. Great British progressive rock band from the classic era who've been making albums all throughout this long stretch of time since the late 60s to now. Really, really fun that they're coming together and creating a new album. It's been quite some time, actually. It's been 18 years since their previous studio album, so this is kind of a big deal in the music landscape within the band and what they do. So they've given the first kind of new taste of what to expect from their new material with Shoshana Sleeping, and it's accompanied with a great YouTube video. I'll put it in the description to go check that one out. And so it's a cool little song. It really harkens back to their classic style. It has the flute that you'd expect from Ian Anderson. It has some really cool kind of folky vibes, maybe almost calling back a little bit to like Passion Play era is kind of how I feel about it. I feel like the vocals are a bit... I feel like Ian Anderson, his vocals over time have gotten a little bit rough, but he's able to do kind of this style now of more of a talking style vocal that I think works for this track. I think it does a really great job of conveying the lyrics and the thought behind the track. So I think it really is a good thing, and I really appreciated hearing the song and getting excited for the upcoming release. So I think it's a really good one. So yeah, the album took shape as early as 2017. It sounds like this has been in the works for quite some time. It says in many ways the album seeks to defy convention during a time when the business of being a touring and recording artist has never faced more uncertainties. So a little bit kind of dealing with that feel of the pandemic and how things are uncertain in our world today. It sounds like there's some biblical storytelling and themes in the content, done in probably a typical Anderson cynical, skewed style, I would imagine. But it sounds like it's going to be a really cool little album released on Inside Out Records. There's tons of different editions and versions you can go out and pre-order in various formats, such as a special edition Digipack CD, Gatefold 2 LP plus CD plus LP booklet, limited 2 CD plus Blu-ray art book, limited deluxe 3 LP plus 2 CD plus Blu-ray art book. So lots of different configurations of this package and so forth. Both art book editions feature a second CD of demos and initial ideas, plus extended liner notes and an interview with Ian Anderson undertaken by Tim Bonus. So really a great package and really exciting for Tull fans. Really cool to hear new music. It's cool that these older artists who are kind of the luminaries of the genre are coming back in full force and really still providing great material. Of course, Yes had The Quest this year. Kansas had a new album last year that was really fantastic. Styx had an album earlier this year. So these really great, exceptional bands that were just huge, especially back in the 70s and in this era of music, they're really still alive and still vibrant and still releasing music. So hopefully this Jethro Tull album can add to that, can be another great album in that pantheon of these classic bands releasing newer albums. So definitely something I'll be covering on the channel. Certainly I'll do a review of it when it comes out in January. So we still have a little bit of time to wait, but it's coming on the horizon, and it should be an interesting project to say the least. So I'm really excited. Felt like I had to share it as part of my news items today. Number 2, on maybe a sadder note, my second Prog headline today is the passing of Moody Blues drummer and co-founder Graeme Edge. This is unfortunate, of course. It's always sad to lose someone so important to the music genre, to progressive rock and classic rock and all of those things. He was 80 years old, and so it's been kind of a sad thing for, I'm sure, many fans of the Moody Blues, and I'm sure I have many fans of theirs in my subscribers, so I wanted to make sure it was covered here. He's a very important member of the group that's been around since its founding and has really been such an ever-present part of the group, really important to their sound. Of course, a great drummer, those classic albums in those early period, his fingerprints are all over, and he's a huge part of, not only with his drumming, but also somewhat of a poet, it sounds like, kind of coming up with a lot of the lyrical ideas and even providing a lot of spoken word interludes on some of those earlier albums, like Late Lament on the album version of Nights in White Satin, and Departure, which opens the 1968 LP In Search of the Lost Chord and preceded the hit Ride My Seesaw. So definitely a big contributor to the group, and so his loss is going to be a big one, and it's really, really unfortunate. He retired, it sounds like, from touring not too long ago. It says he retired from touring in 2019. So, he's kind of been taking a break from the group anyways, but it's definitely an unfortunate passing because he was such an important member of this community, of the Moody Blues fan base, and an ever-present member of the band. So I feel like he deserves some respect and wanted to mention him on the show for his great contributions. And I definitely, as in hearing this news and just in general, even before this news, I've been wanting to get more into the Moody Blues because I know I have some really dedicated hardcore fans of the Moody Blues in my subscribers who've talked about it. There's been some requests, especially for like Janet Reacts, to do some Moody Blues tracks, which we might consider. So it's a band I've wanted to explore. I haven't really delved super deep because, of course, my main love is in progressive rock, and I feel like although they have touches of that, I feel like they're not really one of the hardcore progressive rock bands similar to like Yes and Genesis and Jethro Tull. They are more classic rock or maybe a bit of psychedelic rock or something of that nature, but they definitely influenced the genre and had some incredible records during that period of time that were important. I love Days of Future Past. I think it's an incredible record that I actually know really well and love all the orchestrations and the beauty behind that one. So definitely something I need to follow up on more, and I think this is a great opportunity too at this time. And I wanted to add also, I just found out earlier the passing as well of John Goodsall of Brand X, passing away at the age of 68. So he was a highly distinctive guitar player, with kind of an attitude, but had a really interesting personality and fun about him. First and foremost, a player for Brand X, which is an incredible, jazz fusion-y, prog-y kind of band, but also had some prominent stints with the Alan Brown set, Atomic Rooster. So definitely in the world of all of these great bands and doing some great playing. So he really, really had a great run in Brand X in particular, and has just been a really great presence and really great player that deserves some mention as well. So he really contributed a lot to the genre. So I wanted to make sure he was mentioned as well as Graeme on this part of the news set here. So want to give my respect to those brilliant artists and the great things they've contributed to music at large, and hope that they'll be remembered fondly for their contributions. So continuing on to headline number 3 for me. This is kind of an oddball one, but I had to talk about it because it's one of my favorite artists doing something very unconventional, I would say. This is item number 3 is a new Fido song airing on the soap opera General Hospital. Fido is a really cool prog artist that maybe isn't as well known as he should be, because he's created some incredible music in the genre, some great art rock with prog leanings. I love Doomsday Afternoon is one of his seminal records that I just absolutely adore. Snow Torch is a fantastic record, kind of a 2-part, big, long, epic piece, kind of similar to the style of like Thick as a Brick or Passion Play, but done in his quirky, original way. He had the album Infernal come out not too long ago, so a few years ago now. Hopefully there's new material in the works. I'm not sure. But even though he does this great progressive rock music, his main day job is working as a director on General Hospital, the soap opera that's on television on ABC. And I guess as part of the storyline or as something they decided to throw in a recent episode, they had a performance by Fido at some club, within the show. And so the main characters are in this club listening to his band play this new track. And it was just a cool way for him to insert himself into the show and to, showcase one of his new songs. The song, and I'll put a link to it also down in the description, was called Do What You Will. Not really a full-on prog track, more of a kind of 80s inspired pop rock kind of track, really, really cool though in its vibe and in the performance. A song I don't think you'd expect really to see on mainstream television right now. So it's really cool that this happened, maybe bringing a bit of notoriety to an obscure artist, I would hope. So I had to feature that. And like I said, if you're curious but don't want to watch General Hospital, I'll there's a YouTube link to just the performance. And I found it kind of funny. I was watching it with my wife, excitedly telling her about how Fido is one of my favorite artists and he's on live television and all this. Well, not live, but he's on television and stuff. And so I showed it to her, and I just was kind of cracking up. There's this drama inherent in these soap operas. You're seeing them like pan to these different characters, I assume, on the show, and they're kind of ruminating about their different plot devices and so forth. But in the midst of that is this like kind of out of nowhere performance from a great artist that is very underrated and should be heard. So just kind of an interesting vibe that I thought would be of interest to you guys out there, who many of you may be fans of Fido like I am and some of his classic works. If nothing else, I would point your attention towards checking out some of his best albums to really discover him. He's a really great artist and one of the best for me in the modern prog scene. I met him at a concert in LA once, and he was just such a nice, friendly, amazing guy. So I feel a real strong connection in that sense. And I reviewed his album on my blog way back when, and he was really grateful for the review and really positive about it and shared it on his social media and so forth. And so I've always been a big fan of him. And so anything he does, I'm going to mention it and be excited for and point your direction towards. So there you go. I never thought I'd be recommending General Hospital to a progressive rock audience, but here we are, and it's fun. So hopefully you guys will check that out. All right, item number 4, just a couple more things here that I'll go through a little quickly. There's a new single from the band Coheed Cambria. Now, Coheed Cambria, to me, kind of skirt the line between maybe a more alternative rock style, but with a little bit of prog leanings. They do these kind of prog style concept albums, so I think that's why they get lumped in with progressive rock a lot. A lot of sci-fi themes and doing a lot different things in the storytelling. So I think they're a really fascinating band that are fairly mainstream and popular, but have a little bit of a prog tendency to them. So I'm always kind of curious about what they're doing. So they've released a new track that I wanted to point people towards, called Rise Nainasha, Cut the Cord. And so definitely go check out the track. There's not much more known besides the release of the single. If this is leading towards a new album or what's going on, there's no official announcement. It sounds like it's likely that this will kind of continue their latest concept series. They released an album, Act 1, The Heavenly Creatures, in this sort of Vaxis universe that they're kind of crafting. That was released in 2018. They announced it as for the first part of a 5-part story arc, so there definitely is kind of this idea that the story is going to continue. So this track should definitely be part of that continuation of the story. So we'll probably see this on an upcoming album, but there's no official announcement yet. So I thought it was a really cool track that was worth featuring. I'll put it down in the description below, of course, as part of my weekly top 5 that I have in the descriptions of these videos. And so it kind of harkens back to their classic style of their earlier albums, so I find that really cool. They had some really great albums back in the earlier 2000s and so forth that I was really into at the time, so definitely wanted to mention it as a notable track in the prog sphere. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. And then finally, in item number 5, I saw there was a live version released of Heat of the Moment by Asia for their upcoming release that they're coming out with, the official live bootlegs, volume 1, a big 10 CD box set that's being released November 26th. So that's available for pre-order. Of course, Asia is kind of a big prog supergroup of sorts. I mean, they're more like 80s, AOR rock, arena rock or something along that style, but a lot of notable prog musicians are part of the group, so it's somewhat of a prog supergroup, but they're not really overtly proggy, more of a mainstream AOR rock, arena rock sound, I would say. But Jeff Downes, Steve Howe, Carl Palmer, and John Wetton are part of the group, so of course that's hugely notable names in the prog realm. That is like kind of a dream lineup for many people, I would imagine. But they kind of went in a poppier direction, which I think maybe had some controversy amongst the prog fans, but I think a lot of people still appreciate what they did. And Heat of the Moment is, of course, kind of their big, most poppy moment of the album. But I wanted to mention it as something that's coming up, prog related, that I think's worth bringing attention towards. I'll put a link as also to the single of the Heat of the Moment for this set. And so should be a cool set of their touring and different bootleg concert stuff. So it should be a pretty cool feature. If you're interested in that at all, you can go off and look for that and pre-order it and look forward to that. So there you go. Those are the top headlines this week. Hopefully you enjoyed something in that mix, kind of an eclectic mix of different items. I want to bring your attention, as always, as part of New Music Friday, I put in the description what I call my weekly top 5. And so that's 5 interesting progressive rock related type songs that I found on YouTube in some form throughout the week. And so I think it's a great way to discover new music and to keep apprised of all the new things that are coming out by all the prog bands. So there should be some cool stuff to uncover. It's just a list with a YouTube link, so you can go off and check those out on their separate YouTube channels. So bring the attention to them and their YouTubes. I used to try to incorporate that within my show and add clips and things and talk about it more directly, but I feel like with YouTube it's better to kind of point your direction that way, because there's all kinds of copyright concerns and things, and I it's probably better anyways to go check it out on their channel so they get the views and the attention and whatever monetization or whatever comes from it. So that's kind of my approach at the moment in trying to showcase new music and bring new singles to your guys' attention. So just wanted to give a quick plug for that. And then for the channel this week, I thought it was a fairly decent week as usual. We had a pretty big Jenna Reacts. Of course, we did our next feature in our big Nightwish series, which we're working towards. I kind of view it, maybe I shouldn't announce this too much, but we're kind of viewing it as a bit of a feature that we do leading up to this Nightwish concert we are going to attend in May. So once we do the Nightwish concert, we probably won't do as many regular Nightwish reactions as we've been doing. Maybe include them as part of our general shuffle, but right now it's kind of a separate feature that we're doing just to get ourselves familiarized a bit with some of their most big material that's talked about most on YouTube, reacting to some of their bigger songs and then we'll probably move away a little bit from it once we go to the concert and experience them live. So that's kind of the plan with the Nightwish reactions. But this next Jana Reacts will go back to our usual shuffling format, and that'll be the typical format once we pass through this Nightwish moment that we're doing. And beyond that, we did our next in the Classic Album series, Classic Albums 101, that Jen and I are doing, where we listen to a classic album in rock or music history, I should say. We don't react to it. It's not a reaction like the Jana Reacts. We're actually listening to the album in our own time, doing our own thing with it, and coming together and discussing it and talking through the album and how we felt about the experience of listening to it. Talking about kind of the format now is to talk about our top 3 favorite tracks from the album and our least favorite track from the album, just to kind of give a little bit of interest to what we felt about the different songs and what we liked the most from it, and then to sort of rank it amongst the other classic albums we've done. So we've done Abbey Road by the Beatles and now Tommy by The Who, and this next episode, which will probably take place not this next week but the week after, is going to cover the Rolling Stones and their classic album Sticky Fingers. So that's going to be a great episode, so hopefully you guys will enjoy that one. This upcoming Jana Reacts is a cool one, kind of a more modern song, I would say, from a band that, would you consider them prog? They're kind of prog adjacent perhaps, but a pretty huge notable band, so I'll kind of tease it like that. And then we're going to do kind of a bonus show that we've been preparing for a while. Me and Jana have been, we recorded this several weeks ago and have been slowly editing it, and it's what Jana likes to call the prettiest album covers in my collection. So that's going to be coming this next week, and it's a fun show. It's more of a lighthearted, kind of funny show as she brings out, without my knowledge, she picked I forget how many, 20 different records that she loved the album cover. She knows nothing really about the record and what's on it, and just showcases why she likes the album covers. So I thought that was a really fun show. And then I kind of wanted to tease, I'm doing a lot of prep right now for some big year-end type shows, and it's something I always love in any other, website or channel or radio program or whatever it is. I love the year-end lists. I think it's a great way to discover bands that kind of slipped your radar throughout the year, and to just put together some great shows talking about your favorite music of the year. It's really fun. So I'm planning a lot of shows surrounding this. I'm going to plan one big last new music shuffle that features all these albums that have been notable throughout the year, but just I haven't covered yet on the channel for a variety of reasons. I'm going to do some honorable mentions on a show of what's been some good albums that aren't amongst my top tier favorites, but have been really good throughout the year, kind of do a little catch-all of that. And then I'm going to do a big favorite albums tournament. And I'll describe it later what I kind of mean by that, but I'm going to bring together my top 16 favorite albums of the year, which a lot of you will predict very easily if you've been following me throughout my run on this channel. And then I'm going to kind of pit them against each other and figure out what I felt was the best album of 2021. So I think that's going to be fun. And also a show I'm going to do is the top best songs or tracks of 2021, and do the top 25 best songs that I discovered in any genre. It's mostly prog focused, but I'm going to feature things from different genres as well. So that's kind of, in general, the slate of shows I'm planning that will probably come out through the course of December and maybe early January. So I think that's going to be a ton of fun if you guys are into that kind of thing. And I might also do a kind of a roundup of New Music Friday, all the biggest prog headlines of the year kind of thing. So just things I'm considering and that I think I'm going to do. So hopefully something in there excites you guys. So thank you guys so much for watching this episode today. Hopefully it's not too long for you guys. I really appreciate the support. It's been a really great few weeks for the channel, a lot of great growth, and I'm really thankful for all the comments and all that you guys do for the channel. I can't emphasize that enough, that this isn't possible without the support of the subscribers and different viewers. I know there's a lot out there that probably watch this show fairly regularly, maybe don't comment much, but really appreciate the content, and so I'm really happy for those people who continually support and watch these episodes. And, please let me know in the comments or anywhere else, throughout my social media, wherever you want to contact me, how you feel about the show. If you've been enjoying it, if you have, comments about how it can improve or ideas, I'm always open and willing to hear that kind of thing. And hopefully you guys are appreciating the music most of all. And thank you guys so much. I put a community tab up of asking people for what their favorite albums have been of 2021. You can go to that community tab and post there. I'm using a lot of that information for that upcoming New Music Shuffle style show that I'm planning, where I'm going to feature a lot of the albums people are mentioning and my quick shot kind of impressions of them. So if you want your album to be talked about or considered for that, post on there, or post in the comments here is fine as well. So thank you guys once again, and I really appreciate it, and I'm grateful for all of you guys. So please keep having a good time out there and keep enjoying whatever music you got going on. So thank you, and I'll see you in the next episode, I hope. Bye.